Hi, everyone. Hi, welcome. Welcome to this month's French Tech Connect. I'm Isabelle. I'm the Vice President of French Tech Seoul, and it's my honor, as always, to introduce you to the session and to the great speaker of today. So today we're going to have a special session on innovation. And as you can see, we have so many great people coming around the table today. So before I go into who is who and we go into the discussion, just a very quick introduction of first the platform, who we are, French Tech Seoul, and then I'm going to invite Jerome from Business Friends, who's our partner for today. So first, welcome for those who don't know AirMeet. So this is a platform that we use for all of our events here at French Tech Seoul. And the whole point is that it allows for a bunch of functions, including networking after the session. So please feel free to stay after that. So how does the platform work? As you can see, you have access to a chat, you have access to Q&A, so you can ask us any question you want during the whole presentation. We will have time to answer all of them at the end. And you can even send us some love during the session if you like what we're talking about. So please feel free to do so. And before I go into explaining what is French Tech Connect, I'm just going to check that everyone's keyboard is actually working and you know how the chat function. And I'm going to ask you, where are you currently? Is some people in Seoul, some people in France, or in other countries? So please feel free, tell us where you are right now. I want to see where is everyone. And so just to give you a quick word on what is French Tech Seoul. So we are a community of volunteering people, both in France and in Korea and even some other part of the world. And our mission is to build a bridge and network opportunities between France and Korea, innovation and startup ecosystem. We do a lot of stuff, including this French Tech monthly event. So we're very happy to have you here today. If you want more information, please don't hesitate to ask me directly, Sukaina, or any other board member here. We'll be super happy to explain to you how you can be involved into the community if you want. And then I'm just going to invite on stage Jerome. Jerome, are you here? Jerome is the country head for Korea for Business Friends, and he helped me introduce today's event and get all of those amazing speakers. So, Jerome, if you're here.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, happy to have you on board.
Very, very nice to meet you. I don't know where to put the camera, but okay. So I'm Marc Julien. I'm heading Business Friends in Korea, and I'm also co-chairman of the French Healthcare Club in Korea. I wanted to introduce the French Healthcare Club quickly. So it's a club that has been founded in 2015 with 5 founding members, the main French companies in the field. So Biomérieux, Grailhe, Ipsen, Sanofi, and Servier. They are mostly in pharmaceuticals and medical devices. The club gathers also institutional members as the French Embassy, Business France, La French Tech Seoul, the French Chamber of Commerce in Korea, and Institut Pasteur Korea. So we are gathering 60 plus members in France and in Korea. It's a free membership, so if there are French companies who want to join, it's open for membership. And you can follow us on the website and also on LinkedIn when you can get some news about Korea French healthcare informations. And our main goals is to promote exchange between Korea and France in the field of healthcare. Quite logical, but we also want to contribute in terms of scientific and academic communities and cooperations between the two countries. We also want to promote the Korean healthcare industry investment in France. It's starting well also with, for example, SK today has an investment in France, and also to strengthen the French presence and visibility in Korea. So yes, we are open for collaboration. If you have any needs or want to connect with the French ecosystem or the Korean one, in the healthcare field, we are here to help as well. I would like also to thank SK and Sanofi Pasteur, Institut Pasteur Korea, that are here today for the presentation. Thank you very much for taking the time and to give us also your thought on open innovation and also your feedback on the French and Korean startups that we'll pitch today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jérôme. Great to have you here, and we're super happy to have been able to organize this event with you. I'm just going to remove you to the stage.
And thank you, La French Tech.
Thank you, and see you after the event for the networking if you're staying.
Yeah, I'm staying.
Yeah, so that was it for the introduction, because I'm sure everyone is excited to get on to know a bit more about all of those great speakers that we have with us today. So we're going to start by introducing 6 startups into healthcare innovation. Some are from France, some are from Korea, and a lot are going into like a lot of different industry, whether it is diagnosis, whether it is support for helping the healthcare sector, whether it is medical device. So we have a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm super happy to be able to introduce them to all of you. So we're going to start by Marc from Diabloop. And I'm super happy to know, let everyone know that actually Marc was there last week in Seoul with a delegation of startup coming for ComeUp. So this is where we met, and he joined this event very last minute. So thank you for being on board. And I'm super happy to be able to let you introduce yourself to our community. So here is up to you, Marc.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon for you, I guess. I'm going to share my screen. I've got a couple of slides I want to present. Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to share with you what we do at Diabloop and why Korea is important for us. So just a second. So what we do at Diabloop, we are a med tech that is developing an artificial intelligence to help patients with diabetes type 1 and type 2 to automate and personalize their treatment. And why is that important? Is because when you have, sorry, that's here, we need to share. Okay. People with diabetes, and especially type 1, they have a very heavy mental burden to manage their pathology, their disease. And why is that? Is because to avoid to be either in hypoglycemia, which in certain circumstances could lead to coma or death, or to avoid hypoglycemia, which in the short term, has some impact, but not life-threatening impact on the short term. But in the long term, it drives all the complications that patients with diabetes have, which are, amputation, eye problems, kidney issues, and all those, horrible side effects of diabetes. People have to manage and to try to keep within the range that you see here, keep their glycemia within that range. And to do that, they need to take over 100 decisions, medical decisions per day. And the complexity of that is it depends on the day. It depends on what you've done before, if you've done some sport, if you've eaten, if you slept well, if you didn't sleep well, if and your activity during the day. And every so often you need to question yourself whether you need more insulin or you need to take some sugar to avoid those complications. And so what we have developed is a solution that is held in this handset here that you see on the screen, that has our artificial intelligence, which interact with a glucose monitoring system, which is usually on the body of the patient, that reads the glucose every 5 minutes, send that information to the handset, which has, again, the algorithm, The algorithm calculates how much insulin the patient needs at that point of time. So every 5 minutes it does that, and then send the order to the insulin pump to send the insulin. And so safely, what we do is we automate and we personalize the treatment, because within the system, there is some auto learning that will make sure that the answer that the algorithm makes to the patient is actually specific and for that specific patient. And so basically what we are the brain between the glucose monitoring system and the insulin administration tool, which is here the pump. For the moment, what we have is we have a solution that is commercialized in Europe for patients with diabetes type 1. And now we're working for patients that cannot use or do not want to use a pump, but want to use a pen. And by developing that solution, we will also be able to address the patients with diabetes type 2. The technology will be very similar to the one that we have for type 1. The only two differences are that for that application, we can have a smartphone app, whereas for the other one, for cybersecurity reasons, it's not possible. And the second one is, of course, for the one that is connected via Bluetooth again to the insulin pump, we can do that every 5 minutes. But for the pen, the patient has to take the decision to deliver himself or herself the insulin, and therefore whereas the other solution is a continuous delivery of insulin. Here it will be we will ask the patient how many times they want to inject themselves some insulin, and we will take the decision. It will be a discrete option and the solution for injecting insulin. So that's where we are, and today we are connected to a number of pump and CGM, and most of the manufacturers of CGM and pumps are European or US manufacturers. And the reason why I was last week in Korea is that Korea has actually two very interesting insulin pump manufacturers. One is an existing partner, and we are planning to do some clinical trials with them in Europe to get the data to get our FDA approval. And the other one is a patch pump manufacturers, with whom we would love to push forward the partnership. And it was an excellent opportunity. And thank you very much for the invitation last week. So we managed to get a physical meeting, which is always better than video conferences. So thank you very much, Isabelle, for the invitation for presenting today our solution. And I will take questions if you have at the end, but I'll give you back the floor, Isabelle. And thank you again.
Thank you, Marc. That was a very clear and very, very interesting. And I'm happy to hear that Korea is of interest for you as part of the French Tech Seoul. And I'm sure that we can help you with developing your activity here. So for the next one, I'm going to call in Gladys from Evian to introduce to us your activities and what you're doing and why you're interested in Korea as well, because I know you are currently being helped with Business France to see a bit more about the Korean market.
Yeah, so thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present an Evian and who we are. And yes, for sure, we would like to explore the Korean life science cluster. So that's why we benefit from support of the French Tech, and it's a pleasure today to present my company. So everyone, so just wait a minute. I'm trying to share my screen. Yes. So do you see my screen?
No, we don't.
So I think it's ongoing.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, perfect. So Eveon, we are a French medtech company. We are based in Grenoble. So what we do is that we design and develop specific devices for pharmaceutical and biotech companies. So that means that our business model is not to have off-the-shelf product and to sell it directly to hospitals. Our business model is really to partner with pharma and biotechs for co-developing specific devices for drug preparation and delivery. So we have focused our expertise on preparation and delivery because since our inception, we developed and patented a range of technologies for drug mixing and drug delivery. So our technologies are technologies that are miniaturized. So the main goal is to be able to integrate these technologies in very small devices. So what we target are products, pharmaceutical products that are difficult to prepare or difficult to deliver. For example, with cell therapy, gene and biologics, we are dealing more and more with biologics, with formulation that are tricky to prepare. For examples, we have examples with solutions that you need to last more than 20 minutes to prepare it manually. So what we propose is automatic devices for automatic and controlled preparation. So we propose a range of platforms for pharmaceutical and life science company in order to co-develop specific medical devices. So we have our own quality management system that is dealing with the ISO 17485, and we have an in-house expertise with a microfluidic team, electronic and soft, and mechanics team that are working together for designing and developing specific medical devices. So we are really interested in the Korean life science cluster. At the beginning of Eveon, we focused more with co-development agreements with European and US companies. And now we would like to propose our prototypes and our mixing and delivery solutions to the Korean life science cluster in order to see if we could get some partnerships. So we are really interested in the Korean market. So thank you very much for having the time to present the company, and I will answer to your questions after all the presentations.
Thank you, Gladys, for your presentation. We're happy to have you here. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to have a bunch of questions for you later on. So I'm just going to call up to the next one, Edgar, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, from MediReport, who specialized in more cardiology sector, if I'm not completely wrong. Edgar?
You're absolutely correct. So let me share my screen. Hoping this. So can you hold on? Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, so
actually, now we see your PowerPoint. We don't see your full screen now.
Okay. Well, is that I'm having some issue with the full screen? Is that
so? Can you?
Is that good enough?
Can you reduce, like, to enlarge the PowerPoint as much as possible, and on the top? Yeah. And I think it's going to be okay. We're going to be able to see. Yeah, great.
Is that okay? Great. No, so first of all, what you need to know about what's happening in cardiology in a hospital, it's you have doctors, nurses, technicians. They need to enter so much information manually, and sometimes they even need to enter the same information several times. And not only they do it manually, but often they do it on a sheet of paper, and that means loss of time, loss of information, and safety issues. So that's pretty much why more than 25 years ago, two interventional cardiologists created MediReport. These two interventional cardiologists are still working in the hospital in the morning, running the company in the afternoon. And for your information, we have already some presence in in APAC, especially in Singapore and Australia. So we have a solution which is called CardioReport. Now, what does CardioReport do? So first of all, it allows to describe the procedure thoroughly during the procedure itself. It's not after, it's really during. It also allows you to have the ability to scan the material in order to update your inventory. You have a report which is generated automatically. You can transfer the data to a database for research purposes. You transfer the data to medical authorities, or if you're participating to clinical studies, and you have real-time analytics. And what is really important to understand is that everything is done before the patient leaves the operating room or the cath lab. So it's a massive gain of time for doctors and nurses. Whether it's doctors or nurses, they gain in average 4 hours per week. So that means that you can, as a result, you can do more procedure, which can be an additional source of revenue for the hospital, but also given everything which is done in terms of device management, you can save tens of thousands of dollars by avoiding to lose devices, to scrap devices, and most importantly, you improve the quality of care, increasing safety and reducing downtime. So now our key differentiators is really the comprehensiveness of the solution. The fact that we handle both device management, we handle report, we handle statistical analysis. That's the number one. The number two is the clinical depth. The fact that it's done by cardiologists for cardiologists and that we are our first clients. The third one is from an IT perspective, it's a web-based solution which you can install on cloud on premises. And finally, the fact that we are a vendor-neutral solution. So we can be used embedded in EMRs, or we can use embedded in packs, but so that you don't have an extra piece of software to perform the daily task. But if you change your packs, if you change your modalities, then you are not enslaved to them. You can use our system independently. So our belief is that so the Korean market is obviously a very important market because you have the challenge of digitalization, just like in every hospital. You have a population which is important. The means to have a good quality of care. So that's why we would need to meet with Korean distributors, Korean cardiology key opinion leaders to make sure our solution fits the market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edgar, for your clear introduction. And as the others, I'm going to be happy that at the end of the session, we're going to be able to get a bit more question directly to you. So the next one is actually Taegun. So this time we go on Korean side. And I'm actually super happy to reintroduce Taegun because he already was into a French Tech event, for those who remember, in April in our Big Tech for Good Summit, which I'm happy to announce will be renewed next year. So hopefully we'll be able to get a bit more of you in our event next year. So Taegun, it's up to you. Sorry, I did my little in the middle. Yeah, we got your screen. Everything is fine. But we don't hear you. No. No, we don't hear you. I think it's a... Try connecting again. Okay. So. Okay, good. So while Tegan is like doing his audio setting, let's move to the next one with Nicolas, and then Tegan is gonna be on once we can hear him actually. So Nicolas.
Okay. Hello everyone. It's a chance for me to present and introduce Virtual Research to the Korean medtech company and the community and the club. Okay, I share my screen now. It's now okay. It's okay. You see my screen?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, and now it's okay toujours?
Yep.
Always?
Yeah.
Okay. So Virtual Research is a company created 4 years ago. Okay, it is based in Paris, São Paulo, and Montreal, Canada. Our goal is to contribute to the medical safety. We realize that health professionals need to have access to high-performance, ethical, economical, adaptable, and very versatile training solutions. Like airplane pilots, surgeons need to use real simulator to train. Our simulator consists of 4 pillars: a realistic and interactive immersive virtual reality experience first, an advanced and individualized learning assessment with an analytic dashboard, and training platforms with force feedback and integrations of real medical instruments and equipment, and computer equipment and virtual reality system. Our simulators are based on the mastery of 3 technological pillars: virtual reality, haptic, robotic, and force feedback technology, and data science and machine learning. We also have a strong experience of providing tailor-made simulators to the medtech industry, from user guide and powerful marketing demonstration to full training on complex surgery procedure. The advantages of our simulators for learning are numerous: unlimited repetitions, management of complications, and monitoring of the learning curve of the user help gain confidence before the real surgery. The Virtual Research team guarantees the mobility of our simulators and the ease for installations and to set up and use. We have a B2B revenue model, and the commercializations of our simulators can be done either through acquisitions or SaaS model. And our positioning on Korea is linked to 3 reasons. It's a strategic market first. It's a medical and technological medtech hub, and we share the value about the medical safety. And our objectives are to identify Korean investor on the future company, recruit a technological and commercial team, and to develop even more efficient products in collaborations with our teams in Paris, São Paulo, and Montreal. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Great, thank you for being short. I know we're a bit out of schedule, so thank you for that. And I'm sure we're going to have time after that to ask you any question, and even during the networking time. So moving on to Tegan, are you able to talk now? Can we hear you?
Yeah. You
Great.
might, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Okay, so yeah, hello, I'm Kevin Choi, CEO at Medivale, and Medivale is the pioneer in retinal-based biomarker for cardiovascular, renal, and other metabolic diseases. Cardiovascular is a silent killer and #1 cause of death worldwide. The problem with cardiovascular diseases is that it is usually accompanied by renal, liver, and other metabolic diseases. Timely detection and prevention of these systemic diseases is one of the most important issue in the healthcare market. The eye is the only organ where the blood vessels are visible without the need for any invasive procedure. As such, retina has the highest potential as a systemic imaging biomarker. There are many clinical evidence supporting the high correlation between retina and systemic problems. In MediWell's solution, we present compelling evidence demonstrating that our retina AI can accurately predict a personalized cardiovascular risk, and this was published twice on the Lancet Digital Health. We believe this could be the game changer for the prevention of systemic diseases in the primary care setting by achieving accessible, accurate, and sustainable health assessment. 30 seconds is all it takes for a retinal scan and AI analysis for personalized cardiovascular risk. Not to mention that this is a simple and very comfortable process. At present, we are also developing AI analytics for kidney, liver, and other metabolic diseases, achieving our mission of the eye as a portal to the human health. Thank you for opportunity to introduce our technology here, and would like to discussing or some communicating more. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dagan. That was very, very interesting. And now we can move on to Youngsoo for the last part of presentation.
Okay. Mesdames, Messieurs, bonjour. This is all the French language that I know. Anyway, I'm very pleased to have a time to introduce my company and my product. Let me share my screen, okay? Sorry, please wait. Okay. So are you seeing my screen now?
No.
No? Okay, hold on. Sorry. Weird. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. Okay, you can see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see your full screen.
Okay, so I would like to introduce my company and product briefly to you. Okay, my company Buno has been established in 2014. It has been established by former Samsung Advanced Technology Institute. And then my company is specialized in developing and distributing medical AI software. So we have many products. I would like to introduce 6 AI software to you. Okay, the first one is VunoMed Bone Age System software. It provides visualized output using actual age and current height and gender. And it generates automatically a comprehensive report, including expected adult height. Well, actually, Korean parents and many Asian parents, they are very interested in knowing the height of their children. The second one is VunoMed Chest X-ray software. It diagnoses abnormalities located in lungs. And it detects abnormalities such as consolidation, interstitial opacity, nodule and mass, and pneumothorax and pleural effusion. The third one is VunoMed Fundus AI. It detects abnormalities located in fundus. It detects 12 abnormalities such as hemorrhage, heart exudate, cotton wool patch, drusen, and so on. The fourth one is VunoMed Lung CT. It diagnoses consolidation located in lungs. The consolidation is pretty much related to lung cancer. The fifth one is a ViewNomed Deep Brain. It provides volumetric information on area associated with degenerative brain diseases. And also, it provides a comprehensive report with atrophy information in comparison with normal group. The last one is ViewNomed Deep Brain AD. It detects Alzheimer's disease, and the accuracy almost reaches to like 0.88, almost 90%, quite accurate. Okay, and then also all our products are commercially used in Korean hospitals and in many other foreign hospitals, and all our products are certified by CEMDD. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today and for presenting all of your great product and services. So now I think we can go on to the actual keynote. And I think we need to start with Kiel from SK. So Kiel, I'm super happy to have you with us today. Let me just, yeah, sure. And to hear about your thought on all of those startups, but also what is currently happening in Korea, what is SK involved to, and maybe how we can help bridge anything that is happening between our two countries on that front.
Oh, thank you, Isabelle. Thank you for having me. So my name is Kiel Kim. I'm currently heading the pharma group here at SK. I did prepare a simple presentation on SK. I'd like to share that with you.
Sure. Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right, great. Now this is standard disclosure, I'll skip it. So my presentation will sort of give you a brief overview of the entire SK group, and then SK Inc., which I'm part of, and then the Bioinvestment Center that's focused on healthcare. So SK is pretty large conglomerate here in Korea, or maybe third largest conglomerate after Samsung. Globally, probably the 97th in the Fortune Global 500, for example. We operate around 120 businesses globally. We hold over 300 subsidiary and affiliates. In terms of our sort of financial performance during 2020, the combined revenue is a bit over $100 billion. Yeah, operating income, $6 billion. In terms of investments, we've made almost 20 billion investments. There are a few sectors that we focus on. The first would be energy and chemical. We create around $41 billion in that area. And of course, as you know, electric vehicles is a popular transportation method now. So we create batteries in that area. We have a very large factory in North Carolina, US, and we do produce different materials for the batteries around the globe. For example, we've just started an agreement to build a factory in Poland, for example. We also focus on semiconductor. As you know, about 6 years ago, SK bought out a company called Hyundai Hynix. It was one of the global top semiconductor manufacturer. We create around 30 billion revenue from that business. And of course, we're also very interested in the information technology. area as well. Our sort of revenue in that area would be around 18 billion US dollars. And of course, pharmaceuticals or healthcare business, we're also very interested, and we're currently growing that business. We create around $18 billion in that area. So if you look at history, SK is a very diversified group. We do invest in multiple industries. SK really started as a simple textile company right after the Korean War. And then in the 1970s, SK moved into the petrochemical business. So naturally, when we produce textile, we wanted to go upstream and see, if we could create value in that area. We acquired a company called CORRONS, which was actually a company owned by the government in 1980. And then in the 1990s, we sort of diversified business, moving into the telecom business. So this business really creates a steady cash flow for the entire group. So we're one of the major telecom companies within Korea, and now the company is called SK Telecom. And in 2010, we started the semiconductor business. So 2012, as I mentioned, we acquired a company called Hyundai Hynix, now called SK Hynix. But also in 2011, we really started driving the pharmaceuticals business. We spun out a company called SK Biopharmaceuticals, which was really an R&D center within SK Group. But then we spun out as a separate company in 2011. In 2016, a lot happened within the healthcare sector. We bought out a company called MPAC in the US, which was one of the largest CDMO operation globally. And then we started to see some results with our innovative drugs as well. So SK Biopharmaceuticals, that was spun out in 2011, finally got their 2 drugs approved by the US FDA. One was an epilepsy drug called cenobamate, and the other was called Sunosi, which was a sleep disorder drug. In terms of cenobamate, which is an epilepsy drug, we are selling that drug on our own, under our own brand in the US. But the sleep disorder drug, Sunosi, we partner that with Jazz Pharmaceuticals. So with that milestone, SK Biopharmaceuticals was listed last year in the Korean Stock Exchange. The current market cap is around $7 billion US dollars. And then in 2021, we also started to look at the gene and cell therapies, and I'll give you some more details in the back. So now I'll talk about SK Inc., which is really the holdings company of all these different companies that we invested in. So I am actually sitting at SK Inc. SK Inc. Is a bit special. It's not a simple holdings company. We strive to be an investment company. So we've been investing in different industries, different companies, creating a portfolio of companies that we think will lead the future industries. In terms of investment strategy, there's really 3 sort of areas. There are areas that we think it is core in terms of the businesses. Those are more established businesses that we have. Companies like SK Hynix, SK Telecom would be in that area. And then we have companies that are in the growth phase, pharmaceuticals, for example, SK Biopharmaceuticals or SK Pharmteco, which is the CDMO company that I mentioned. Those are sort of the growth areas that we see. And then there are other new areas that we sort of classified as seeding. Biologics, CDMO, especially in gene therapy, for example, is a new area we just started entering into. And then we also decide to dispose some of the portfolio companies that we hold if we think we need to move on to a next sort of generation industry. We would think about disposing our legacy businesses. In terms of SK Inc., the consolidated revenue is around $75 billion US dollars. So far, over 5 years, since we started sort of thinking about being an investment company, we invested over $5 billion. So we've been investing around $1 billion a year. This sort of shows the breakdown of the different industries that we cover. So you can see that among the 4 sort of major areas, pharma, IT, energy, and some of the early investments that we made, they are all sort of split almost equally. In terms of pharma, we really entered the CDMO business in 2017 by buying a facility, API manufacturing facility that was held by BMS. And then in 2018, we sort of made a major move in that area by buying a major operation called NPAC. Also, I'll talk about our innovative portfolio in the back. So within SK Inc., there are different investment centers, and I've mentioned that all of these investment centers focus on different industries. Among those investment center, Bioinvestment Center, of course, focuses on healthcare, especially pharmaceuticals. As you can see, we sort of laid out the companies that we hold under Bioinvestment Center. And you can see that we are holding companies across the different value chain in the pharmaceutical value chain. In terms of target discovery, we invested in a company that's based here in Seoul called Stendime, which uses artificial intelligence to discover new drugs. And then in the chemical side, we of course mentioned that we have SK Biopharmaceuticals that focuses on CNS. And more recently, we invested in a company called Proteovant, which is a company that focuses on protein degraders, a new type of a chemical drug that can really go after some of the protein targets that the traditional inhibitors weren't able to do. And also, we've also have some exposure in the biologics. We invested in a company called Hummingbird Biosciences. It's an antibody company that focuses on oncology. Their lead program includes HER3, anti-HER3 antibody, also an oncology drug that targets VISTA. So this is a bit more of a detail of the companies that we invested in. There are companies that focus on drugs, but also we also look at companies that focus on IT. For example, Elvis is a company that focuses on brain information technology to assess brain diseases. And also, I'd like to sort of wrap it up by mentioning that we started investing in gene therapy manufacturing, and the recent investment that we made at the bottom is a company called Ipuskesi. It's a company that's based in France, and that's how we sort of have a close relationship with the French government. Thank you. I think I will wrap it up with this presentation. I'd love to answer questions if you have any. We'll do that later in the session.
Thank you, Kiel, and thank you for seeing my message on time management. So thank you for this great presentation. I think people are going to have a lot of questions on SK and how we can work with you and how maybe we can have a bit more collaboration with startup, SK, and even French. So I'm just going to give the floor now to Regis, who's going to be the last speaker of today. And don't worry, I know we're slightly late. But we're still going to give time for question in about 10 minutes once Regis is done. So please don't hesitate to share your question in the chat or in the Q&A, and we're going to take them right after. So get ready on your keyboard. Regis, it's up to you. And yeah, we see your screen.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thanks, Isabelle, for the opportunity to share a little bit an overview of the Institute Pasteur Korea. Then, what is the Institute Pasteur Korea? It's currently a dot in a larger web of institutes that are all originated from Paris in a certain way. Pasteur was a famous scientist that discovered vaccines and that were able to practice currently the cure that he developed into patients. And the spirit of Pasteur was currently to perform pure research and apply research in the same institute. And this is unique visions was carried over Korea about 17 years ago. And in order to build another node currently in Asia Pacific. And this effort was currently promoted by joining the effort of the French Ministry and the Korean Ministry of Science, ICT and Future Planning, that agreed to currently join force financial and manpower forces to build this institute. And I'm currently one of the first member and that really helped to shape this institute in Korea 17 years ago. Then currently the institute is built in two large departments. The first one is the biology, the questions that we try to tackle, the disease we try to cure. And for most, they are oriented towards infectious disease. We do also chronic disease, but it's a minor part. And we try to cover the large important infectious disease, but we are currently covering viral infectious disease, bacterial oriented, and some parasites. This is for the biological part, and there we do research. But importantly, we have a very, very strong platform that can help to translate any currently biological model into a pure drug discovery pipeline. And the way we do things is it was quite unique when we started. I think now it's more and more used. It's all based on visual imaging. Then what, if you want, the institute is really built around an automated microscope, and we use what we call high content screening approach. And we do imaging at high resolution of cells that undergo a pathology. And here you can see cells that are labeled with different markers. And all these markers, the organization, the topology, the way they are currently organized, tell us a lot about the cell health, but also the pathology. And those images are currently acquired through a pipeline. Then currently we have multiple nodes. This is all the technology part. The disease starts with miniaturized microplates. We currently work with a plate that can contain 400 experiments. In each well, the cells will be grown, and a given virus will infect the cells in presence of defined cocktail of drug, unique drugs or cocktail of drugs. And those cells can be grown until a certain stage. They will be measured using our screening platform, using imaging approach. We have a data analysis platform that we developed where we currently mine all this image, extract the data, and we've combined this data together with currently the structure of molecules that are affecting the cell response and the pathogen response. And using this process, we currently can perform some drug discovery and move currently hit molecules into drugs and drugs into preclinical stage where we validate drugs to a mouse model that would be, for example, infected with exactly the same strain as it is in cell model. Then we have an entire translation engine that you will find in the industry. This is what is unique to find that in an institute. And this is where we stop. And usually we carry over the molecules of interest to a partner that can be a startup or large pharma industry. The important thing is that the system does not only provide information towards applications, I mean, toward drugs or products, but it can also bring back information. And sometimes we have interesting molecules that have a non-target, and we can see that if you block a non-target, you will have you will prevent an infectious disease. You will learn, therefore, from currently the screening pipeline. Just to give you a glimpse of what we do is Image are currently using image mining software, analyze through the multiple channels, through multiple mathematical algorithm, and this is really, really, really quantifiable. And using that, we can determine, just using imaging, affinity of drugs, potency of drugs, toxicity of drugs, and many other factors. And that can be done with a large array of parameters. We can go up to thousands. And there's a lot of mining process that can undergo. Then behind AI can be currently our friends in some cases where we have a complex pathology where we need a lot of depth to decipher the drug of interest that we are looking for. Now, regarding the industry, what we did, as I mentioned, the institute was created in 2004, and in 2008 we developed a first-in-class molecule against tuberculosis. It took us 4 years to find the target, and just to give you an idea how this drug was found, it was initially a model that came from a research institute in France under the governance of the INSERM that brought currently a tuberculosis model in Institute Pasteur Korea, and then we went through and we developed a very interesting drugs that was used as a seed for a startup company named Furient, which was currently spin-off in 2008. And in 2016, Furient went IPO, and the current valuation, I think it's lower than that now, but it's around $200 million US. There's also possibility to create startup and to work with other startups in our institutes. We currently have a floor with 5 different startups that are working in different fields, going from cell therapy, diagnostics, and drug discovery. In IPK, we also are very much interested in information. And one of the missions is currently to bring technology to undeveloped countries. and to try to use cell phone and cell phone capability to perform imaging and to currently assist microscopic to perform diagnostic. And one of the first cases that we are currently studying is the use of cell phone to currently monitor and quantify malaria parasites using GM staining. And we developed several aspects, hardware to currently hooked a cell phone to a microscope as well as software. And this is the end of my presentation.
Great, great timing. Thank you, Regis. This all brings me back to a long time ago where I was actually working on an innovative cluster for healthcare and against cancer back in Paris region. So a lot of those very difficult words that I'm hearing again and trying to get my mind around everything called pipeline and target. We had one question so far, and I want to keep us on time and knowing that there is networking time right after, we're just going to keep just a few questions that come up now. And to the speakers, if you have questions between each other, I'm also very happy to hear them. That is the whole point of this type of event. So let's just stay maybe another 5 minutes here, and then after we can start the networking. So we had one question from Kang Cheng, which was, are there devices to check brain disease, such as dementia in France? I'm not sure if someone has the answer to that. Actually. Maybe not. I'm not sure we have specialists on dementia right now. Okay. Well, I'm probably not able to answer to that question as well. But I know that Youngsoo, you're actually doing something.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm thinking of the answer. Okay. So one of my products, which is called BUNOMED Deep Brain, can detect the symptom of dementia. Okay. The main one of the main symptoms of dementia is the atrophy of the brain. So my software can quantify the brain. So by judging the level of atrophy, my software can give exact information of the disease, which is called dementia. Okay.
This is based on MRI.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
And I had Jerome coming to the comments saying that even though we don't have yet the information, is this type of stuff is actually working in France, or if we have any startup or company working on that, he will come back to you with the information. So let's work on that. Any other question, people? Or between each other? I actually wanted to check because I know that I know that all the French startups here are coming to this event because actually you are interested in France. But I am actually super interested to hear a bit more about our two Korean startups who I know are some relationship with us, mostly through network. But I'm actually pretty curious on hearing what you think would be the healthcare landscape in France, and if that could be a potential market for you, actually. So, Youngsoo or Tegan, if you have any.
Well, actually, my company is finding a reliable partner in France to expand our business scope. My potential customers can be in France, like a hospital or a system manufacturer or POX companies as well. Okay, so also I think we can make a synergy effect if we work together closely, because You guys have a very various product, which are very interesting. So I am very wondering how we can make a synergy effect together through this kind of business network. That is my question.
So this is a question to us.
To you, right?
Join French Tech Seoul, I would say. Join the French Korean Healthcare Club Network. Work with Jerome and us and everyone here. And I'm sure we can find a way to make more connection for you, but also for any partners that are between France and Korea. I mean, that's the whole point of both of our networking community. So I think you just came into the right place to see how we can find maybe more partners for you, or just to help you understand a bit more the landscape in France. And I think that's definitely the type of work that we're happy to do with both at French Tech Seoul and with Jerome and the Business France team.
So can I have one question?
Yeah, sure.
Can I have individual contact information later?
Yeah. I mean, you have. I'll share either here or later on our
later. Yes. Either way is fine with me. Yeah.
Sure. With pleasure. If we have one more question, we can take it. If not, I think we can go directly onto the networking time, if everyone is okay with that. Sure, I'm seeing.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm not seeing any more question in the chat, so I think we can just directly move on to the networking time. So how is it gonna go? So once the session is done, everyone is gonna go back to the lounge that you saw when you entered the space. So you're gonna be able to see tables, and you just have to click on join. And once you click join, you're directly connected to the table and to the people who are in the space. Your camera is going to be off and your mic is going to be off. So don't hesitate. You can go in and spy people, or just go in and talk without your camera. No issue for that. And I'm just going to put for the speaker name and company as name on the table, so that you can know if you want to go directly talk to someone. And then after that, you can switch to any table you want. Feel free to stay as long as you want. The space is going to be open. So yeah, I think that's it for me. And thank you so much for everyone who stayed so long for this event. Thank you for all of our speakers. I'm super excited to see more of what is happening between France and Korea in healthcare. And I can't wait for the networking, and I can't wait for our next event, who's going to be next month, and maybe slightly before Christmas, on a very nice topic. So suspense. And I wish you, for those who are leaving now, wish you a good evening or a good afternoon, and see you next time. Bye. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye.